What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,700 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very, very much. And yes, we are well into June, darling. Yes, technically, I guess the second week of June. And the weather's turning up here. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, and it is hot, hot, hot. They call us Hotlanta for a reason. So today I am talking with just an amazing gentleman. He is the founder and CEO of LMBPN Publishing, the wonderful Michael Anderle. I'm going to get it right, Michael.
Hi, Ash. How are you? Yes, how are you doing this?
I am great. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. It is getting hot. We're over here near Las Vegas, and so the sun occasionally is starting to ratchet it up. We should hit 100 today.
Oh, yeah. I was in Vegas maybe about a year ago. I was living in Vegas for a couple of months. They sent us over there in July, and it was 127 degrees. And I'd never seen heat like that before, Michael. It frightened me. It was a lot. But that is craziness. All right, Michael. So let's start things off. What was the main inspiration for you starting this publishing company?
The one for me writing it's a bucket list item. I've read thousands of books over my life, and I was 47 at the time. I just wanted to be able to say, hey, I've put a book up on Amazon and released it. And the other part was, half of it was so that I knew how to do it. I could pass it on to my oldest son, whom I feel is like a better writer than me, but he's not willing to go out there and take chances.
Gotcha. So the process for you in starting this, so it was just you solemnly, you're like, you know what, I just want to get a book out there. I want to put this book out there. And that was the main focus. Pretty cool.
The two of those things, right. I was seeking another way to find income that wasn't so stressful. We're having clients that, your month could be going great, and then one client just ruins it with a rant. And so emotionally, I was ready to find something else.
Gotcha. So what was the inspiration, I would say, or what really influenced the very first book? Death Becomes Her.
I was a fan of vampires. The very first book was The Criterion Gambit, which is a vampire, werewolf, alien sort of mishmash that became pretty popular. And I wanted more vampire in my life, and I wasn't getting it. And I've been reading a bunch of indie authors. I felt like, hey, I could probably write something as well as they can, and I took a shot.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about that story. Who's the main character?
In that one, Bethany Ann is the main character. She's about 26, and she's about to die. She had received a genetic aberration through her mom, and she got a chance due to another in a vampire series that they needed someone fresh, someone with a new attitude. They were seeking someone in the military, and we find out that they'll only take someone about to die, but the problem is the military has been a lot better, and so they don't typically have people in the military whom they know because they've been able to do the genetic test, and she's the only one available who meets the criteria for this. And so she gets a chance, and she has to make a decision, and that is become a vampire and perhaps die early or, get rid of all her connections and do something great in the future.
Gotcha. Now, Michael, people, mostly authors, and anyone that's in the creative realm, anyone that's creating stuff, storytelling, they are notorious for pulling inspiration from people that they know. So were these characters based on anyone in particular, maybe a family member or anything like that?
So at the time I was doing a lot of reading, and I was kind of fits and starts. Had started the book in 2014 when my wife had gone over to a big convention in Europe, putting it back in the digital drawer, read a bunch of books that I liked, and I was seeking to understand why did I like them. And I took a lot of those learnings and put them back in when I opened the digital drawer a year later to finish the book. And so I mentioned before John Conroe was a big person, and I had a chance to interview him. And oh my goodness, Eldon Tice's book, and for some reason I'm spitting on the author's name, and just interviewed him not that long ago. Darn. I'll just leave it at that. And so there were other books that were part of it, and so I wanted to understand that if I'm 47, so by that time I know if lightning strikes, you have to follow the lightning. You have to take it all the way down. And so I put everything that I wanted into this long series because I was like, I'm a big series reader.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'm going to put vampires into it, and I'm going to bring aliens into it, and I'm going to do this. And it ended up taking off. And the main thing I would tell you, don't ever plan a 21-book series. Because you make these promises at book 2 or 3 when everybody's all excited. We're going to do 21 books. And by book 15, you're just like, I can't just, oh, God, I have to do another book.
Amazing. And there have been so many books since that initial book project. Now, your latest book, How to Be a Badass Vigilante. Oh, my gosh, this just sounds so amazing, so awesome. Can't wait to get that book. Now, what is going to really hook audiences to this book project?
At the core, all stories should be, in my opinion, this is strictly an opinion, but it really needs to be about characters and relationships. No matter, how we wrap it inside science fiction or how we wrap it in urban fantasy, and this one happens to be an urban fantasy. And you have a young woman who's made it through college, and she's done well in her degree, but she's not happy with it. So she's on the West Coast. Her parents are on the East Coast. Her mom calls her up, and she's just pushing her. When are you going to get married? When are you going to do this? And she's like, you're just a barmaid. And she doesn't really take well to that. And so, on a lark, she goes to Amazon. She orders some books about business. Maybe she'll be able to get her mom off her case. Right. And then on a lark, she buys a book about how to be a magician. How to be a magic user, how to be a badass magic user. And she finds out it's real. It actually works. And that takes her down. So the first series, How to Be a Badass, which is about that piece. How to Be a Badass Vigilante. Now, she's matured. She's had a bad situation with her boyfriend, and she's had to come clean. And she's having to deal with the real-life episode of what it could look like when you don't have TV making those easy-to-make decisions for you. Yeah. And her life is a little messed up. As she's decided, I have this power, I'm going to help people, even when there are people who would rather I not survive.
Cool. Okay. All right. Now, Michael, as you began your career as a writer, were you always interested in sci-fi stories?
Yes. Science fiction, fantasy, urban fantasy have been the genres of my choice.
Just forever. So you were, I'm sure that you were a Star Wars fan. Were you a Trekkie? I'm getting those vibes.
Let's just say this right here. If there's a door that goes Star Wars and a door that goes Star Trek, I'm going to go into Star Wars.
All right. Okay.
I just half his membership just went, he's dead to me. He is dead to me.
No, absolutely not. No, last but certainly not least, Michael, what advice or what tips can you give to any aspiring writers?
A lot of them. So one of the things I love to do is to help individuals in this indie area that I'm a part of. And I created a group called 20 Books to 50K to help that. Now, a lot of people have jumped on to help mature that group because it's at 50,000 right now. On Facebook, you're free to get there. It is a business-focused Facebook group. Anybody can get a hold of it if you're author-focused. If you're just there to do PR, that's not going to help.
Right.
It's 10% of all people that have joined have been kicked out for breaking. There's only 2 simple rules. But from it, understand that right now you have the opportunity to load a book into Amazon and others, but I'll speak to Amazon specifically, and it can be on sale around the world in hours. Wow. And you will never know when that opportunity hits. And I really feel like there's a lot of power for creatives such as myself to take the future, there. Customers, readers are the ones who are the gatekeepers now. Right. They'll let you know if they don't like it. And then so it is not easy. It is really work. You can't sit there and go, well, I shall write my book. No, write your book. Because nothing happens until you hit the publish button. When you hit the publish button, that's when life starts, at least as a published author. And you have to understand, you're going to have to do the business too.
Yeah.
Otherwise you find a publisher. I did not have a publisher. LMBPN, the publishing company that I have, was built on the back of me being the first author in it. So there's a lot of opportunity. Husband-wife teams, I know quite a few very successful husband-wife teams where one spouse or husband, wife, irrelevant, whichever, one person's the writer, one person handles the business. It's very common because oftentimes spouses have different capabilities and skills, and I would encourage people to look into it, whether it's on 20 books to 50K or go to Amazon or just look it up. There are many six-figure and seven-figure authors out there. You'll see a lot of people go, the average author will only make $3,000 a year. That's completely plausible, or less, or lose money if you're a publisher. At the same time, there are many authors making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 who have their own lives changed because they've taken the action of trying to publish themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool beans. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you beyond words.
Thank you, Ash.
Let everyone know how they can get their hands on these awesome books.
Anything for myself, and I have quite a few books that have myself associated with them, can be at LMBPN. That stands for London, Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, New York. Originally, it was Milan because it was the top 5 fashion capitals, but changed to the top 5 publishing cities in the world. Wow. So LMBPN.com. Michael Anderle, you just type it into Google. It feels weird to say that, but you can find me on Google.
I love it. Much more success to you and the whole team, Michael. Definitely appreciate you coming through today.
Thank you very much.
And I appreciate
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.